You got a $4 million budget and you're thinking, should I get a core central large apartment or a landed home in the outskirt district, or I could also get a new launch in the RCR city fringe for the same amount of money? I am so confused. I have $4 million. What should I do? Now, I was in a similar quandary and I have this video about how I had made my $1.5 million mistake in spending $3 million on a resale condo. And today I want to show you, because $3 million you can't really get a landed, but I want to show you what is the possibility and the pros and cons between potentially putting your $4 million budget into a landed home versus a resale condo in a more central region versus potentially considering a new launch option depending on your goals. I'm Sarah X Miracle. I'm a family-centric realtor. Not only do I sell landed homes, I also, of course, work with condominium owners and upgraders who are looking to move from HDB into private. My goal is to really help you to make the family-centric decision so that your real estate serves the purpose of your family and the generations, and not for you to feel enslaved to that mortgage and then really wonder, why did I do this? So without further ado, I'm going to break down, number one, what are the pros and cons of trying to enter the landed market at the 4 million mark if that really is your budget, and see how that's possible. Number two, looking at the pitfalls of potentially investing your $4 million in a resale condo, even though it's in a very good location, and really what would be the purpose if you do decide to put $4 million into a large condo resale. Right? And number three, the wildcard alternative, if you have $4 million budget and you are open to the idea of new launches. Now, bear with me because I know that this is going to be like a curveball for most people. Most people are like, why would I buy new launches? I got to have that wait time. Why would I do that? It's so expensive on a PSF level. Well, I'm going to show you the myth of the 4 million landed budget. I'm going to be showing you why 4 million into a resale condo, even if it's in a central district, might not even be a sure win for your capital gain. And finally, show you how you can potentially have delayed gratification and eventually in a 4-year cycle have a much bigger cash pool to play with so you can make that real upgrade and get the real house of your dreams with a new launch. Now, if you're open to listen to me, let's go. Firstly, I'm sure you're wondering, like, at $4 million, can I even buy a landed home? And I'm going to show you examples right now that yes, you can. PropertyGuru put a $4 million budget. You can even put freehold tenures if you are open to all districts. And this is what you get. At $4 million, what can you buy? So I have here on PropertyGuru, I'm just randomly scrolling. You have Springleaf. You have a 1633 land. Okay, that's District 28. 7 minutes from Springleaf MRT. That's an up-and-coming area because of our Springleaf residences and all of the stuff happening at Lentor as well. You have Springside, which is, again, near the north area. Again, this is a vacant unit. You probably have to do some works onto it. You have McPherson, 1,500 square feet land, so that's probably going to be a small 2-story terrace house. District 13 is quite notorious for the lowest quantum terraces that you have because of the small plot sizes, as well as it being more of like the spillover from the Serangoon districts. So you can kind of see where this is going and why it's kind of cheap. But this is apparently near Potong Pasir MRT as well. It's just that it's a bit old. So for $3.5 million, for you to go and do an A&A, actually you would probably need at least $800 to $1 million because you are likely going to have to redo the foundations. So the key things to know about getting a landed property at a $4 million mark is that, number one, the property is going to be older and require either extensive renovation, minimally A&A works, or even a complete rebuild. Just renovation to get it into a good space. It could be easily $500,000 because you need to be looking at land and structure at the same time, as well as wiring, electricals, all of that. Or if you do a nice minimally attic level to make that livability increase, right? So you have more livable space. You're talking 800,000 because you do need to redo the foundation, whether it's piling, micropiling, whatever it is, to hold the weight of that attic level. Okay, one more half level, but that will give you more rooms, right? That's what you want. And lastly, of course, if you want a rebuilt plot, we're talking minimally, even for a small plot, we're talking $1.3 to $1.5 million. That's already on top of the land price that you're paying for that. That's one of the things. The condition, okay, is likely going to be poor. Number two, the location is likely going to be more on the outskirts. You're not necessarily going to get something that's so close to the city, as you can see. So we're talking further out areas in the OCR, and they're not that close to your central amenities. That doesn't mean that they can't be close to MRT, but it's most likely that the amenities there may not be as sophisticated or developed. That's the key two things that you want to take note. Otherwise, I want to show you later on the graphs on how all these three categories are going to compare on a kind of acceleration basis in the last 4 years, and then you can decide whether or not this is really worth your time. So that's for our $4 million landed option. A key point to note is that $4 million may be an illusion because you actually need more budget for renovation, A&A, or rebuild, given that likely the condition of these units are going to be older. It is right now in the market pretty much impossible to find something that's super move in for just a pure $4 million budget. If you increase your budget to roughly about 5, like we had one unit at Jalan Senyum that was near Kembangan MRT, 3-story terrace and quite moved in. We sold at just under $5 million, but again, that's a few $100,000, much more than $4 million, right? And so if your finances do not allow for that, is entering a landed really the best way to either number one, increase your net worth, or number two, get capital gain? This is the real question, because if you can't even afford it, $4 million is actually an illusion. You technically really need $5 million. Now, two, if you have $4 million, you can also enter the CCR large condos. And I sold last year in 2024, Astrid Meadows, 1,900 plus square foot. That was really nice, 3 bedrooms at Astrid Meadows. And you can get that. I sold that for $4 million. And you can get something similar to that right now still in the market. So we're talking about Botanic Gardens Mansions, Taman Serasi, that area. Even right now, I have a Pinewood Gardens on sale. That is a 1.9 but with a patio. Okay, so internally it's about 1.6. That's also going at $4+ million. So you can see that this is super central. Okay, for example, Pinewood Gardens, my current listing, it's just a stone's throw, like 5-minute drive to Orchard, and it's on the other side. You are 1 kilometer to good schools like SCGS and ACS. Okay, so if you want to be in Central District near good schools, near the town, right, and you're really in the part of Central Singapore, you can consider instead putting your money into a resale condo. But honestly, let me tell you that if you want to put your money into a resale condo like I did 3 years ago, you may not be seeing that kind of capital gain that you might see otherwise if you're either invested into a landed or into an RCR new launch. So this is where I'm going to show you a single diagram to illustrate my point of $4 million, but in different categories, how it's going to affect you and your potential future trajectory. So I'm going to show you just this one diagram because this one diagram says a lot. Now look at the line for your resale condo, which is in your blue line. Okay, and already it's in the prime district where you would imagine that prices should be going up. However, you can see that the appreciation from 2020 all the way till now has only been 18%. Now, contrast that to an OCR landed property. 2020 till now has gone up 44%. And the new launches in the RCR have exceeded that at 45%. So we're talking about growth numbers here that are almost in the multiple of 3 to your resale condo. Now, what does that really mean in terms of numbers? Now, everybody knows we went through this COVID surge and the numbers were kind of inflated from there. But I just want you to turn back time because I did the same thing with my $3 million budget for my resale condo previously. And imagine that, you're probably not going to sell this immediately, right? Maybe you'll only sell it in 10 years' time. So it is easy to imagine that for a landed, in 10 years' time, you're going to see a similar growth pattern because landed is scarce. There's no more landed going to be in Singapore. Of course, there are those 99-year landed, but we all know that they face lease decay issues. So for landed, I think you can be assured that at some point, holding it and seeing that growth go up to 45% of growth at some point in the future, you know that you can be assured. So if you have the money, $4 million into a landed property, you have the extra $500,000 to $800,000 to renovate or A&A, make it good, which means with stamp duty, you actually have a $5 million budget. I would say 100% go for it. And I'm with you in that category because now I'm also trying to work and buy my own landed purchase. But let's say you don't actually have a full 4 and your $4 million actually includes that renovation budget. It's not possible to stretch beyond that due to your limitations. Now, guys, there's still good news for you because if you wanted to spend that $4 million on a resale condo, you may be facing with a very, very slow growth in terms of your capital. I want to share this perspective with you that you can delay gratification to buying your dream home. It could be a landed or it could be another bigger apartment or even whatever it is. So I want to give you this perspective about what buying a new launch at $4 million means and how this is going to actually help you move forward even in the next phase of your house hunting. So now I'm going to break down for you why a new launch might make sense, especially if you're looking for capital gain and potentially delayed gratification, because that would mean that when you finally buy your own stay property after kind of like releasing this property, you will actually reduce your monthly loan. Now, let me just take you through, first of all, the comparison, right? So we're loaning the same amount, okay? And the key difference is that the projected property growth in 4 years is going to be vastly different because the annual growth of a resale is on average 2% every year, whereas our new launches are looking at 5 to 6% every year. So already our gross profit is going to be much, much more different. And we already have examples like the JadeScape penthouse. It was bought at $4.2 million and sold at a profit of another $4 million. So if you're going to be able to buy into a rare, large format unit, even in the RCR, like JadeScape, or even right now we have Pine Tree Hill, we have Ori, we have so many good products, Tron Park, some of these products, which I'll be happy to share with you, you could potentially look at an upside easily of 20% when you eventually exit. So let's look at this. You will have bank interest that's actually significantly less because it's a building under construction, so you're not paying the full mortgage for $3 million upfront, so your mortgage is less. Yes, you will have some rental because your rental will be about $300,000 monthly at $6,500, and that's already something you can get quite a nice 3-bedroom in a central location that will make you feel comfortable. So yes, our expenses upfront may look higher. So yes, you're going to have a rental cost that can't be avoided, but look at what you're going to pay in terms of bank interest will be much higher for your resale property because you'll be paying percentage interest on the full 75%. Also, you will have to renovate that older condo, even though it's larger in a central location, easily $150,000 and $20,000 for your appliances, your furniture, what. That brings you to roughly almost the same. We're talking about just a $20,000 difference in expenses projected for resale versus a new launch. And the new launch, of course, your expense was the rental. But here's the kicker. Look at our eventual return after we get out of the property. You would have a net profit of $628,000 if you were exited at the estimated growth rate of 5 to 6% every year. Okay, so this is estimated. And you would suffer a loss of $70,000 if you exited at just $4.3 to $4.4 million at the end of 4 years. Now, this is exactly what happened to me with my $3 million condo. So I can say for sure that this is fact. You are definitely going to either be just breaking even or making a loss when you consider interest, renovations required, etc., for your building under construction project. Now, don't tell me you don't have enough out of that net profit, the $628,000, to renovate the building under construction if you so decide to stay in it. It's totally possible. Okay? So the main thing though is that your return on equity is 53% on your down payment compared to a negative 5% if you had chosen to do a resale condo. So in conclusion, I've said a lot of things, but if you have $4 million budget, hear me out. Now, what are you going to do with that return on equity? You have $600,000 to play with, right? Your initial down payment was $1 million. Now you have $1.6 million. You can either choose to use that as a down payment for a landed house, which will be at the $5 million mark. So you just take $1.6 million divided by 25%, assuming you can support the loan. You can buy $6 million, $6 to $6.4 million landed house right now. Isn't that crazy? Or you can choose to use that to offset the amount that you're going to be loaning for your next property, which you could easily move into a $5 million property right now, whether it's a landed or even a larger, more luxurious condo in a central region, right? So that could be the option as well. And because you reduce your loan down, even if you were to buy another $4 million property resale, you'll only be paying the interest on $2 or $2.5 million instead of on $3 million, and that is a significant saving as well. So we're talking about reducing your mortgage from a roughly $12,000 to $14,000 a month liability to something less than $10,000 a month, which really helps you with your day-to-day cash flow. So in conclusion, I just want to share with you that again, you have 3 broad options with your $4 million right now, or they can choose from. $4 million will get you either a very, very nice large apartment, or we're talking 1,008 to 2,000 square feet, older condo in the core central region, or even some of the more popular fringe areas like District 15, District 19. And there is livability, there is immediate gratification, but be prepared that you may not be making money on that property. Number 2, you could also, if you had more budget than 4, because 4 is a bit of an illusion, you can push into a landed category, but be warned because I would advise that you do have enough buffer for your savings. And of course, so if you have $4 million with additional budget to push into the landed, which means you have another $500 to $800 for that reno AA, please, I do 100% support you going to the landed realm. And number 3, if you are thinking to increase your capital gain, but you don't have that full budget to renovate and you don't want to stay in the OCR, you'd rather enjoy living in the CCR or RCR, and you don't mind just renting for a while, you would be looking at a very, very strong upside if you bought into a RCR new launch. And by the way, the benchmark for new launches is going to be going up because of the recent land prices of OCR plots, including Bayshore and Chuan Grove, which means that our new launches in these OCR, right, are going to be hitting 2,800 PSF. That is going to be the new game for next year onward. So if we can still enter and buy some of the post-launch products in the RCR within the 2,500 to 2,006 PSF range, you are still going to be in a good entry price. So there's a lot of configurations, and all this has to be personalized to you. So I would encourage you, if you want a consultation for you to just work out your property portfolio, because sometimes you've decoupled, sometimes you own different properties, we can customize a plan for you. And I'd be so happy to do that, because this should be serving your family for the next season to come. And I want you to know that we're on your side. There's no 100% right, 100% wrong, but I want you to know that there is a plan for you. There is a miracle waiting for you. Let's get you to your next miracle home. If you like videos like these, I hope you like, share, subscribe, click the notification button so that you get notified every time we have new videos like this. See you soon.